Please, hello. Test one, two. Please all rise as we sing the Philippine national anthem.
Pelas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig. Di ka pasisiil sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong buhaw. May dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig. Ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Continuing Education Program Closing Ceremonies. I am Noel Kasubha, and it is my pleasure to be your host this afternoon. And on behalf of the University of the Philippines Open University, we would like to extend a warm welcome and a big thank you for those who are joining us here this afternoon. Also, we are live via web streaming at UPOU Networks. That's networks.upou.edu.ph. So for those who weren't able to come here today, they can still catch us and join us virtually. So, without further ado, so to formally start this program, we would like to call on Assistant Professor Rita Ramos, who will be giving the message on behalf of our Dean, Dr. Primo Garcia, the Dean of the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Dean Prime, I will deliver his opening remarks. To Mr. Herbert Troy A. Coloma, our guest speaker. Of course, yours truly, our Secretary of the Faculty. Our Program Development Associate for the Continuing Education Program, Mr. Larry N. Cruz. To our course coordinators, and especially to our Continuing Education Program course completers, with their support system who are here physically and virtually via live web streaming from around the world. A pleasant afternoon to everyone. Before the year ends, we celebrate today yet another milestone in our life. I'm sure this is not the first time for most of you to complete a program or a course, but I hope that this will definitely not be your last. Lifelong learning does not end with every certificate received, since learning is a continuous process. As they always say, the certificates and diplomas that we receive are the tickets for a good life, but you should think of it as a ticket in making a difference in this world. UP Open University's continuing education program is not just an add-on activity, but an essential component to the growth of the person. In the past, people only work on one job throughout their career, but with changes in the world's economy and recent technological revolutions, people are expected to change careers throughout their lifetime. And so lifelong learning will become a permanent preoccupation in our professional lives, more so in the years to come. Lifelong learning in this connected generation enabled borders to be transcended and barriers to be broken, which led us to embrace different facets of our world, diverse life experiences and ideas, Learning has become a social experience which cannot be constrained inside the four walls of the classroom, but instead shared by people from all walks of life, from different parts of the world, and from a wide range of disciplines. The Faculty of Management and Development Studies will continue to develop programs to respond to our dynamic and diverse needs of our society. We endeavor to design and offer more relevant courses and programs that would lead to countless possibilities for the Filipino people and contribute to the society's development. I hope also that you will recognize the time that you have spent in your online studies at UPOU as another milestone in your life, an opportunity not only to upgrade your knowledge and skills, but also widen your perspective in life. Allow me to congratulate all of you for a job well done. I am pleased to be able to thank publicly your families and friends, course coordinators, and all those who contribute to making this CEP closing program a success. Once again, I welcome you to the closing ceremony of the Continuing Education Program. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang mga magsisipagtapos sa Continuing Education Program ng FMDS.
Thank you, Professor Ramos. Professor Ramos is the Faculty Secretary to the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. And now for us to know more about UPOU and what it offers, let us watch this short video.
When the only notion constant is change, when information is obtainable with a single click of the mouse or a tap of a screen, humans seem to be at the center of it all, making them in sync with the changes, in constant motion. This is not limited to those living in cities whose hands seldom part with their gadgets. In rural areas, the innovations and discoveries in technologies are used to ease lives and bridge gaps in knowledge, skills, and practices. With the new knowledge and information being created, reproduced, and shared at a rapid pace, people constantly need to retool themselves to keep up with continuously changing work requirements. In today's digital age, people need to learn how to learn and learn anywhere and anytime. The University of the Philippines Open University, the fifth constituent unit of the University of the Philippines system, provides opportunities for people to pursue further studies through open and distance e-learning. In February 23, 1995, the University of the Philippines Open University was established. It is mandated to provide Filipinos all over the world wider access to quality higher education through open and distance e-learning, or ODEL. UPOU now offers various degree programs to learners located in more than 70 countries all over the world. These programs are under the Faculty of Education, the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies, and the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. UPOU also offers continuing education courses and massive open and distance e-learning courses. UPOU uses various information and communication technologies, computer programs and applications to deliver instructional content and connect teachers and learners all over the world. Now more than ever, UPOU continues to transcend borders and break barriers through constant generation of knowledge and open exchange of ideas. It persistently tries new mechanisms to reach a larger number of learners. It perseveres in mentoring learners who shall be change agents, equipped to participate in the co-creation of knowledge for the benefit of Filipino communities everywhere. True to its mission, UPOU shall continue to reinvent itself to provide 21st century education in an increasingly open world.
Okay, that's University of the Philippines Open University, transcending borders, breaking barriers, providing wider access to education anytime, anywhere in the world. Again, we are live through the UPOU networks. You can also catch us at our various social medias like Facebook and Instagram. And now, the continuing education program is under the Faculty of Management and Development Studies with other non-formal courses and graduate degrees. Let us know more about the FMDS through this video.
The Faculty of Management and Development Studies, or FMDS, is one of the three faculties of studies of the University of the Philippines Open University. It was established in 2004 when the then Faculty of Health Sciences and of Management Sciences were merged. At UPOU, courses are delivered online. Students study using specially designed learning materials and interact with each other in virtual classrooms. Teaching, research, and public service. FMDS offers 15 graduate programs. Graduate Certificate in and Master of ASEAN Studies, Diploma in and Master of Environment and Natural Resources Management, Diploma in and Master of International Health, Diploma Program in Land Use Planning, Diploma in and Master of Land Valuation and Management, Diploma Program in Research and Development Management, Diploma in and Master of Social Work, Diploma in Women and Development, Master of Arts in Nursing, and Master of Public Management. FMDS conducts research both in our program disciplines and open and distance e-learning. We tap on our expertise in open learning and network technologies to address institutional, health, environmental, social issues, and problems affecting the country. To help disseminate research results, FMDS publishes the Journal of Management and Development Studies. FMDS offers non-formal and continuing education courses to cater to the wider public. These short-term courses focus on topics in the fields of health, environment, and entrepreneurship. We conduct capacity-building programs to help upgrade the competencies of institutions and professionals, as well as community-based programs targeting specific sectors. FMDS holds webstream seminars and symposia that feature vital issues relevant to the programs of the faculty. To further expand our reach, we have offered massive open online courses, or MOOCs. In this rapidly changing world, FMDS holds fast to its commitment to serve the global community of learners, scholars, and workforce. By providing responsive, interactive, technology-maximizing, and multidisciplinary programs, FMDS hopes to develop change agents who can make a difference in the lives of the communities they lead and serve.
That is the Faculty of Management and Development Studies. And now to our main event, the presentation of Certificate of Completion. May we call on our Faculty Secretary, Assistant Prof. Rita Ramos again on stage, with Mr. Larry Cruz, our CEP Program Development Associate, to award the certificates along with the course representatives, course coordinators rather.
May I invite Dr. Marie Grace Gomez, the course coordinator of the Caring for the Child with Special Needs, to assist us for the awarding of Certificate of Completion. Dolar Jocelyn B. Manigos Lorena Yu. Moran Marjorie Yu. Kimpo Joanne R. Bahil Chona M. Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Bas LVDS, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Berweda Cheryl S, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Chavis Joyce A, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. De Los Santos Nazareth C, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Merida Ina Gabriel S, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Torrecampo Mary Christie, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. San Jose Nixon L, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. I would like also to read the other names who are not present. David Eden Josephine L, Jumagdao Lara Monica E, Manansala Rosette Hannah J, Manapat Janelle B, Michionara Milia S, Pelicano Rosemary T, Sagun Lian C, Abaygar J. Ann M, Cano Florida D.I., David Maricel T, Domingo Estrella R, Ferrer Aprilin V, Gavino Julie Ann Mayet L, Luna Maria Jose P, Palse Marilyn B, Prieto Sheila B, Rivera Angela C, and Soto Fanny May T. For the research utilization in nursing administration, we have Arosena Vincent C, for the integrating climate change adaptation and disaster risk management in policies, plans, and investments towards inclusive and sustainable agricultural and rural development, On behalf of Dr. Ricardo T. Bacarinao, we have Mr. Brian A. Belen. Briones Melanie V., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. De Guzman Elaine Grace N., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Ay, wala. So, okay. For the other completers, we have Aquino Angela A., Serna Sheila S., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Casimiro Rosemary R., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. La Casa Maria Cristina C., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. And De Guzman Elaine Grace N., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. For the Organic Agriculture, the course coordinator, we have Mr. Brian A. Belen. Rumbawa Raimundo Jr. C. Kapul Elaine Joy, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Julian Marcelo III P., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Balyarda Christian Z., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. The other course completers are the following: Bernardo Raina A., Colyao Maria Bilenti, Mutia Virginia T., Aniñas Jericho G., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Chua Rona M., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Diskaya Daina Fatima I., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Kwong Nilfa B., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Valenzuela Jerome Agustin A., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Herrera Christine Marie V., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. For the responding to climate risks in agricultural and natural resources management, on behalf of Dr. Ricardo Bagarinao, we have again Mr. Brian A. Belen. We have Rosales Annalie L., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Again, for the introduction to electronic e-commerce, we have again Mr. Brian A. Belen. For the course coordinator is Ramon Manuel T. Nesperos and Adrian L. Bautista. Santos Catherine Abigail D. Casto Janine, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Llerena April C., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. VR Michiko C, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. The other course completers are the following: Bustamante Jolly S, Kalalay Maria Jasmine M, Rodriguez Season Jr. A, Rubio Rolando D, Solis Evelyn S, C. Bettina Jane, Kapili Clifford Rex T, Certificate of Completion with Distinction, Cruz Shian C, Certificate of Completion with Distinction, Mendoza Maria Algeria B, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Moralejo Arnold C, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, and Suratos Mark Joel M, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. For the new enterprise planning, the course coordinator, Ramon Manuel Tinesperos and Adrian L. Bautista. So we have again Mr. Brian A. Belen. Navarro Josan A. Barrientos Jason M.L., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Guevara Bernadette Z, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Mangilaya J.A., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Sarmiento Rosalie A., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Andyan na. Oh, sige. Tawagin ko na. Okay. May I call on also the course coordinator, Mr. Ramon Manuel Tinesperos, to come up on stage. Cruz Maria Joana Alexandra Q, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. NEP. Mercado Edward Patrick C, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Rosaria Vanessa M, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Mituda Joseph Erwin Francis R, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. The other course completers, Franco Macfranco Zenus J, Mapa Crystal Grace L, Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Balaba John Sherry C, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Dabalos April A, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Magan Geraldine N, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. And Policarpio Rogelio Jr. G, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. For the Personal Entrepreneurial Development, the course coordinator is Mr. Brian A. Belen. Lontayaw Noemi DJ. Bayot Ariel Geno F., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Cabiles Fridian J.G., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Gilas Paul A., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Sangil Francis Ion C., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Facundo Florgel O., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Villegas Revelin M., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. The other course completers are Aniñas Crisbel P., Mamangon Irene V., Mendita Marceline C., Paes Rochelle Angie, Rapuyan France Erica B., Tumbaga Michael D., Velches Anthony Jefferson A., Chan Mary S., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. De La Cruz Maiden Precious B., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Eparwa Rogin G., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Figueroa Russell A., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Gamas Marian L., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Coventura Gladys Trixie N., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Lebrilia Marion Delster R., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Manalaysay Jewel Karen G., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Mangalindan Rachel S., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Marshall Daruni Faye S., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Monteclaro Jerelisa J., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Nieva Maria Antonia L., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Reyes Aldwin M., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Talyada Joy B., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Odin Elaine O., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Pinka Millicent O., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. And Vinculado Jessa Antoniette A., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. For the Simplified Accounting for Entrepreneurs, the course coordinator, John Benvers A. Malabanan. To be represented by Miss Tricia Ascan. Nawala. Donor Jonaline L. San Antonio Arnold S. Faltado Lynn M., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Tan Magda Laser M., Certificate of Completion with Distinction. Asarcon Jumilita S., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. Jeronimo Eva O., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. and Ortega Ann Jillian Yu, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction. The other course completers, Banyas Arla Emmanuel T., Henobili Federico Jr. M., Lingad Christine Fatima T., Masbad Adiel L., Saldua Adrian Dayan Isabel R., Samson Elisa E., Santos Rochelle C., Saturo Sodolfo C., Season Maricar Jane T., Season Goldie Ann M., Torres Maria Lorinda R., Villones Trandafer Ayesa S., De La Cruz Esli L., Certificate of Completion with Distinction, Tobias Hannah Stephanie S., Certificate of Completion with Distinction, Tia Jamilia Marie R., Certificate of Completion with Distinction, Alday Sunshine N., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Aragon Jenieline R., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Azura Maria Therese Antoniette B., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Baleser Feliciane P., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Fernandez Hani Michelle R., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Gabrielle Cristel C., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Grona Cheryl G., Certificate of Completion with Distinction, Yui Maria Jesusa S., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Interior Joseph Ricardo B., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Malikse Maria Patricia Dolores D., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Mausisa Chris Anthony A., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Mendoza Carl Matthew E., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Montaño Maria Risa F., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Nunez Geraldine J., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Paz Noreen F., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, Santa Maria Jill Ira T., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, U. Karen R., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction, and Sarasa Pamela Pia L., Certificate of Completion with High Distinction.
Thank you, Professor Ramos, Mr. Cruz, and our course coordinators. And again, congratulations to all of our completers. Let's give them another round of applause. And now, to give us his inspirational message, our guest speaker this afternoon is currently the Administrative Manager for Network Expansion at BDO Network Bank, Inc. He's a Master of Business Administration graduate from San Beda College Graduate School of Business. He's a distinguished alumnus of UPOU FMDS Continuing Education Program and one of the first who took up organic agriculture in 2012. An organic agriculture practitioner and farm owner in Ibaan, Batangas. Let us welcome Mr. Herbert Roy A. Coloma.
Okay, good afternoon. Hello. Assistant Professor Rita Ramos and Mr. Larry Cruz and the rest of the course coordinators, thank you for inviting me and for having me. This is like a homecoming for me. As mentioned, I'm an alumnus of the OA course. Okay, kami yata yung unang-una. Kami yung mga guinea pigs during that time. But I enjoyed it a lot. I'll just speak a little bit about the course, which is OA, as well as entrepreneurship. When I was invited kasi, I find it difficult to select a topic specifically for all of you kasi varying yung courses ninyo eh. Merong health, entrepreneurship, and environmental. OA kasama doon. Ano? So, kinompress ko na lang siya kasi yung topic ko is related to all of us. Okay. But first, let me give you a little background on why I chose organic agriculture before as a course. During that time, na-starting pa lang yung organic agriculture as a degree. Okay? In 2001, according sa study ni Rigby and Caceres, yung European Union, meron silang 2.2 agricultural lands devoted for organic agriculture. Ano? And sa Austria and Sweden, medyo mataas-taas na ng konti, 10%. And for the US, during that time, ang cost of goods sold nila for organic agriculture maabot na ng $6 billion. Okay, so malaki na yon. Unfortunately, well, yung sa yung sa income nila na 6 billion, nag-increase pa yan ng 12% per annum. So ganun kalaki yung yung demand for organic agriculture. Unfortunately for Asia, including the Philippines, less than 1% lang yan. Okay, so nagkaroon ako ng interest sa degree na to kasi I was thinking in terms of dollars. Okay to, mukhang yayaman ako dito. Okay. So what I did, I searched the internet to find out kung sino ang mga nag-offer ng courses na. Unfortunately, during that time, halos wala. Okay? Then I stumbled upon UPOU, and they offered organic agriculture. Ang hindi ko alam, kami pala yung unang-una during that time. Okay? And I was fortunate enough to be with the first takers ng course. Yung organic agriculture also during that time, very new. Kasi yung Organic Agriculture Act, 2010 lang siya nagawa o na-put into law. And yung IRR was in 2011. Then in 2012, meron ng offering ang UPOU. Kaya sila pioneer in this endeavor. Okay? So, to cut the long story short, I enrolled, I took up the course, and then attended yung first day. I'm not sure kung sa first day pa rin pinapupunta yung mga students, but during that time, nagpunta kami rito, and I attended. Okay? Then, eventually, reality struck me. Okay? Alam niyo naman, meron tinatawag na expectation versus reality. Okay? While taking the course, I found that our instructor were not here to teach me how to be economically rich. Okay? But they were teaching us life principles. Okay? Thus, they coined the term, pagsasakang may konsensya. Okay? Ewan ko kung ginagamit pa nila yan. Okay, we were being taught the principles of OA, but in the same time, how to be responsible. They explained further that most of our current farming practices are counterproductive because it eventually leads to soil degradation. And furthermore, higher operational costs for farmers that leads them towards lower economic gain. Thus, farmers, yung mga farmers natin, they become poorer and poorer. When I say poor, I mean economically poor. Yun lang yan, economically poor. Nonetheless, I pursued the course because it was a wake-up call for me. I not only want to help myself towards economic gains, but help others learn the principles towards that end. For me, helping farmers to be specific, because they are the poorest. How is that? The reason are, first, the principles taught OA is a guide to help us to understand that the environment is our friend. And when it comes to raising crops, we cannot raise crops without the help of the environment. Secondly, when we adopt farming practices that are harmful to the environment, we reap negative effects like soil acidity, and increase in harmful insects while removing farm-friendly ones. And lastly, we can never grow economically while our farmer partners are getting less economic gains. Thus, they need to help the community to understand and practice organic agriculture and encourage them to practice the organic agriculture principles. Then that is when we can reap environmental gains and hopefully, eventually, towards economic gains. In the community where we practice organic agriculture is not, if yung community that we are practicing organic agriculture are not convinced of these principles, then we can never gain at all. Why? Because imagine, nagpa-practice ka ng organic agriculture. Like example, itong hall na ito. Yung middle hall, dyan ka nagpa-practice ng farming mo. The rest hindi. Lahat nag-spray ng harmful chemicals. Saan pupunta ngayon yung insects, harmful insects? Of course, doon sa lugar na makakakain sila ng pagkain nila. So, yun yung nagpa-practice ng organic agriculture. Okay? And the rest, or all of you, all of us, na farmers, wala nang, hindi na mag-gain talaga. Okay? So, we need to involve the community in where we are. Okay? Not only in agriculture, but also in business, in entrepreneurship. Okay? Just recently, I was reading the papers. I read about the article of Celito Habito titled Helping the Poor. It was published just December 3 at PDI, in Philippine Daily Inquirer. He said, the takeaway from this article is that another concrete way of helping the poor or the poor families is by equipping them with right skills, values, and financial capital. This is by family-to-family mentoring and nurturing relationship. It is like a successful business family directing and assisting a poor family grow and nurture a business of their own and hopefully passing it on. Okay. And a good example of this is yung Gawad Kalinga. I'm sure familiar kayo sa Gawad Kalinga. It is a very well-known organization that helps build houses for the poor. The principle here is that Gawad Kalinga really helps in building homes for poor families and beneficiaries. Though they do not do this as a dole-out, what they do is that, for example, ako yung head ng family, tutulungan nila ako magkaroon ng home for me, pero meron akong participation sa pag-build, okay, in terms of materials as well as labor. Okay? So may mga tutulong sa'yo, member ng community, so ikaw din, tinutulungan mo yung sarili mo. Okay? So, participation, community participation. The main principle of GK is that provide decent middle-class houses or dwellings for them, then they will dream big for their families. Okay? Ang reason daw, kaya hindi masyado nag-iisip ng mataas ang yung mga poor families or low-income families is that yung community nila ay hindi conducive to think further or think better. Merong isang author, may natanong siya Pilipino. Unfortunately, yung tatay niya, not unfortunately, nagkataon lang pala, ang tatay niya ay driver. So tinanong yung bata, paglaki mo, anong gusto mo? Ang sabi ng bata, gusto ko maging driver katulad ng tatay ko. Okay, kasi yung nakikita niya eh. Pero ang purpose ng Gawad Kalinga, gumawa kayo ng community na middle class ang dating para yung families, yung mga susunod na generation, middle class din ang kanilang magiging yung iisipin nila towards their next generation. Mag-iisip sila maging accountant, maging doktor, maging engineer, entrepreneur, and sana, farmers din. Okay? So, now back to OA. Okay? If we assist families to instill these principles, then the second generation of OA practitioners and eventually their families will be converted in practicing it themselves. Secondary to it is attaining economic growth for them and for their future generations. Okay, people who care and are willing to share find greater meaning in their career or business when they somehow partake of the pains and suffering of those they help. It is my hope and part of my purpose in gaining an education in this institution, in UPOU, is to help ourselves and eventually help our communities. So this is my hope, and I leave this to you, and maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nagtapos ngayong araw nito.
We would like to, for Sir Herbert to remain on stage as we call on Assistant Professor Rita Ramos and Mr. Larry Cruz to present Mr. Coloma the Certificate of Appreciation. The Certificate of Appreciation reads, the University of the Philippines Open University, through the Faculty of Management and Development Studies, presents this Certificate of Appreciation to Mr. Herbert Roy A. Coloma as guest speaker in the Continuing Education Program Closing Ceremonies held on December 7, 2019 at the Centennial Center for Digital Learning, UP Open University, Los Baños, Laguna, given the 7th day of December 2019 at UP Open University, Los Baños, Laguna, signed Dean Primo Garcia. And now, let us hear from some of our completers this year. Let us hear from their cluster representatives. So first with the Health and Social Development Cluster, presenting their cluster representative is from the Caring for the Child with Special Needs, Dr. Marie Grace Gomez.
Our reply speaker for the Health and Social Sciences courses comes from the top-notch of the course Caring for the Child with Special Needs. We have 40 participants in this class. He is a public school special education teacher who is a true advocate of children with various exceptionalities. Without further ado, may I call on our reply speaker, Mr. Nixon San Jose, to give his reply speech.
good afternoon. Enrolling in this continuing education non-formal course is indeed very fulfilling. It gives me the opportunity to rekindle my passion and to refresh my knowledge about caring children with special needs. Nowadays, there are many children who need special attention, love, and care. As a special education teacher, handling different learners with disabilities, I feel privileged and challenged at the same time. I learn to understand and to appreciate the uniqueness of every child, that I need to take effective teaching strategies and techniques to share my personal and professional qualities for the growth and development of my learners with love and affection. I also feel challenged by the fact that it is never easy to teach SPED learners. The pressure is always there, especially the fear of not addressing their difficulties. So I need to know their needs, study their varied characteristics, including their strengths and weaknesses, family and cultural orientation, channel their energies into constructive and worthwhile activities. And most importantly, I must never get tired of motivating them to do better. Moreover, I need to ignite their passion, to making their dreams into reality, and to make them become an efficient individual in the society. I need to lift, inspire, and encourage them to perform well and to become individuals with confidence, courage, pride, self-esteem, and worthy of praise and emulation. Our sincere action towards helping children is indeed a passionate and a heroic deed. We need to be a true paragon of virtues to genuinely offer our effort and time to children with special needs. We should never cease to believe that a child with special attention will have better language proficiency results, excellent communication skills, self-worth, and social development. Providing guidance, training, and assistance in implementing interventions is absolutely purposeful to child's expected noticeable development. In the Philippines, all are equal, all are free. All deserve a chance to pursue their full measures of happiness. The inclusion of child with special educational problems is indeed globally accepted to promote equality and parity among learners, and to make these children live in peace and harmony, and to be accepted in the society with no discrimination. Regardless whether the child is of no disability or not, we should take full responsibility in maximizing the education he or she receives. One thing should always remember that what actually motivates mind to think is touching their heart first. Let children with special needs dream, believe, and survive. Let them row their oars towards the sea of opportunities and excellence. On behalf of the CCSN class completers of 2019, congratulations to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. San Jose. And now for our environmental cluster, to be introduced by their course coordinator for organic agriculture, Mr. Brian A. Belen.
Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. Good afternoon. I am pleased to introduce to you our next response speaker this afternoon. She's not a stranger to online distance learning kasi nandun na siya both ends as teacher and as learner. She has been teaching ESL to Taiwanese students. She also runs her own business named Favors and Decors based in Quezon City and is a part-time teacher at the Seed Montessori School. She also deals with children. Our speaker has a degree in interior design from UP Diliman and a postgraduate diploma in language studies for teachers from UP Open University. Ayan. Ladies and gentlemen, organic agriculture's top-notcher and class representative, isang guro, entrepreneur, at higit sa lahat isang ina, Binibining Christian Balyarta.
As nervous as I am standing here now, I am likewise happy to congratulate all my fellow students for finally completing the courses. We did all an amazing job. 16 weeks of education in organic agriculture may not be so much when compared with any formal education program. But for most people who are here, completing even just one non-formal course is already an admirable achievement, no less. I am a teacher, entrepreneur, and a mother to 4 school-aged kids and a 6-month-old baby. My classmates are entrepreneurs, accountants, tax appraisers, company managers, engineers, homemakers, and leaders in their community. As you can guess, our daily schedules are already cramped just as they were. But in our sincere desire to learn right about growing healthy, safe, and sustainable food, we did not let professional and family commitments get in the way. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with autoimmune disease in the blood. My doctors could not be certain what caused the symptoms, although one possible reason given was eating chemically treated and processed food. When I had my second attack in 2017, I made a firm decision to change my lifestyle and advocate producing more homegrown and safe food. And so my journey to organic farming began. I used to think that organic agriculture is as basic as using chicken poop instead of urea or pausok instead of malatanya. But eventually, I realized there is more to organic agriculture than meets the eye. Its practice, in fact, requires exact knowledge, meaning reliable theories and sound practices. And so I'd like to commend today the authors of the modules and our instructor, Mr. Brian Belen, for pointing us to the right direction. They have provided us with a wealth of knowledge through a variety of engaging reading and video materials, forums to stimulate reflections, face-to-face sessions, as well as challenging quizzes to test our overall understanding. Now, I am proud to say that my farming vocabulary has successfully expanded to include concepts like soil amendment, companion planting, polyculture, agrodiversity, and a lot more. But OE was not simply learning by the books or modules. I'm sure the teachers had in mind what Dwight Eisenhower once said. Farming looks mighty easy when your plow is a pencil and you're 1,000 miles away from the cornfield. And so they challenged us to produce actual organic fertilizer products and test them with different vegetable seedlings. This was one experience I enjoyed the most and would never forget. In fact, I enjoyed it a lot that I ended up trying out almost every fertilizer and pesticide product in the module, and in a span of 3 months, built my own small vegetable garden. Nowadays, I am happily sharing my success and failures with friends through social media. For most of us today, it is our last day as UPOU students. The course has ended, but our learning actually only begins here. As we build our own backyard garden, small retirement farm, organic fertilizer and pesticide businesses, or even a mega organic farm, we will meet new challenges and problems. Then, we have so much more to learn and hopefully to share with others. I fervently hope we continue to be inspired and committed to do our part, though maybe small, in promoting sustainable organic growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ballarda. And last but not the least, from the entrepreneurship cluster to be introduced by their course Coordinator for New Enterprise Planning, Mr. Ramon Manuel Nisperos.
Good afternoon, everyone. Allow me to introduce our course top-notcher for the new enterprise planning to speak on behalf of the entrepreneurship cluster. First of all, he is a nurse and he's currently working as a certified healthcare virtual assistant for HelloRash. Now, the new enterprise planning opened a different door for our course top-notcher for the NEP. He just registered and operated a pet shop in his hometown. So without further ado, I'll introduce the course top-notcher for NEP, Joseph Erwin Francis Mituda.
Magandang hapon po muli, aking kapwa, continuing education completers sa UPOU, FMDS Dean Primo Garcia, my former mentor, Professor Rita Ramos, hi ma'am, and our continuing education staff, and our beloved friends and families who are here to support us. And of course, to our NEP course coordinator, Sir R.M. Speros and Sir Adrian, thank you for giving me the privilege to speak and represent the NEP class. Let me begin by asking a question. How do we find direction in an ocean of uncertainty? Paano nga ba tayo makakahanap ng direksyon sa karagatan ng kawalan ng walang kasiguraduhan? Allow me to impart one valuable mantra that Sir R.M. taught us, which struck me the most. And that is, start small, think big, and act fast. This seemingly simple but powerful line can actually help us conquer the fear of the unknown and the myriad of uncertainties that inexperienced business aspirants like me are facing. It gives us hope that we don't need to be a business tycoon to start a new business, a new brand, or a new line of products and services. We just need to be that ordinary Juan de la Cruz with a mobile mindset and a purpose. Not just to gain profit, but to advocate on something. For example, my new enterprise plan called Judy's Pet Essential was conceptualized for the love of my dogs. And I would also like to mention some of my classmates here, Miss Joy, whose business plan in selling plastic cabinets is already operational. Congratulations, ma'am. And of course, to Miss Bernie, whose business plan for a snack bar is already in construction. Laban lang, ma'am. And speaking of the businesses already running, we need to, after laying out our plans, our goals, we shall act on them so they won't remain a dream or a mere illusion. Starting small, thinking big, and acting fast can also be applied in other aspects of our lives. Let me share a quick background on why I took the NEP course. I have been a student here at UPOU since 2016, taking off my master's degree. But recently, I felt that I was really struggling. Hindi ako makausad-usad. I was in a dilemma to the point of having anxiety attacks on whether I should continue with my former major or shift to a program that is more likely to help me in my current work as an online professional, as a virtual nurse, and as an online business English teacher. Then, an email from Miss Mary Grace Perez, from Grace, came, which undeniably sparked my interest. And in just 1 month after starting NEP, I had the courage to act fast by taking 2 more subjects in my quest to answer the what-ifs in my life at that time. So it was under the approval of my former program chairperson. And thank you for that, ma'am. At sa awa po ng Diyos at sa suporta ng aking mga UPOU professors, naitawid ko ang NEP at ang dalawa ko pang subject sa UPOU ng matagumpay last term. Salamat sa NEP sa pagbibigay ng bagong direksyon sa aking pag-aaral at maging sa aking buhay. Ang aking pinagdaanan ay kagaya din sa isang negosyo. Kung hindi man pumatok ang iyong produkto sa isang lugar, hindi nangangahulugang failure ka na. Baka sa ibang lugar o may ibang market na tatangkilikin ng iyong produkto. Kaya huwag mawalan ng pag-asa. Sabi nga sa Twitter, #laban lang. Ngunit paano kung wala na talaga? Kung paano ubigo o talunan na talaga? Can we still start over again? Can it be that easy? Depende pa rin sa atin yan. But to me, the answer is yes. Let me borrow another line, this time from Professor Rita Ramos, which she shared in one of our online feedback sessions for a major subject 2 years ago. She said that in order to succeed, we need humility and perseverance. What is humility? What is perseverance? Sabi nga ni Ma'am, humility is kababaang loob, and perseverance is pagpupursige. When we have humility and perseverance, makakaya natin tanggapin ng maluwag kung ano man ang darating. We will surely have the courage to start over again, wiser and stronger. Strong enough to start small, wise enough to think big, and courageous enough to act fast. Naway makatulong po ang ating mga natutunan sa NEP at sa iba pang continuing education courses ng UPOU sa pagpapaunlad ng ating mga sarili. At sabi nga ni Sir Larry kanina, sa mga komunidad na ating kinabibilangan. Si Sir Herbert pala yun, sorry. We need to improve ourselves so as we can help the communities that we belong to. At sa bandang huli, maraming salamat sa UPOU, FMDS specifically, sa malaking oportunidad na matuto at sa wakas, tapos na po ang ating mga courses. We still have a lot of courses here at FMDS and everyone can take advantage. At maligayang pagtatapos po sa ating lahat. #para sa bayan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mituda. And I would like to call on stage again Assistant Professor Rita Ramos and Mr. Larry Cruz for presentation of Certificate of Completion.
May I request Mr. Brian Belen to come up on stage for the personal entrepreneurial development. Velches Anthony Jefferson A. Marshall Daruni Faye S. Certificate of Completion with Distinction.
Thank you, Sir Larry, Sir Belen, and Professor Ramos. And now to formally close our ceremony, giving his message is Mr. Larry Cruz, our CEP Program Development Associate.
When my name was mentioned earlier, akala ko nakapag-closing. Anyway, to Herbert Troy Coloma, our guest speaker, Assistant Prof. Rita Ramos, who represented our Dean, Dr. Primo Garcia, and to all the course coordinators, and most especially the completers of our CEP non-formal courses here at CCDL and online via live or web streaming at network.cpou.edu.ph. Good afternoon. Okay, a while ago, we all witnessed the completion of 152 out of 235 or 65% of our learners from the 9 continuing education non-formal courses of the UPOU FMDS CEP. And I'm very pleased to inform you that your batch completion rate is 4% higher than the last batch. Palakpak naman po. Kasi yung last batch that was June last term ay 61% completion. This time it's 65% completion. With caring for the child with special needs topping the list. With a completion rate of 75%, followed by the simplified accounting for entrepreneurs with 70% completion rate, and then the PED with 69% completion rate. Congratulations. For those 83, kasi 235 less 152, that's 83. 83 lang naman yung hindi nakakomplete. That's 35% of the population. You may be able to complete your respective courses, so meron pa namang chance. You still have a chance to obtain a certificate of completion by submitting your lacking requirements or deficiencies. Yung nga lang, Pasko time na ngayon eh, baka hindi na ito. Honored before the opening of CEP 1 2020 on January 25. So yung mga classmates nyo, you may encourage them to finish all the requirements by January 25 of 2020 para naman magkaroon din sila ng certificate of completion. Okay. A while ago then, we also heard the message of Mr. Herbert Roy Coloma, our guest speaker, also a completer of the CEP, sabi nga December 12. Actually, that's the pioneering batch of OA. That's OA 1 2012. I think that was December 8, 2012 na mag-closing sila. That's the pioneer batch. And hopefully, he has inspired all of us to apply what you have learned from your respective courses. This time, the cluster representatives, yung tatlo, sino ba yun? Si Nixon L. San Jose from CCSN, Christian Z. Balyarta of OA, and Joseph Erwin Francis Armituda of NEP. They share their journey from their respective courses. Yung CCS for Health and Social Development clusters let the children with special needs dream, believe, and survive. The OAs for environmental clusters hope to continue to be inspired and committed to do our part in promoting a sustainable organic world. And the NEP for entrepreneurship clusters start small, think big, and act fast mantra from Sir R.M. Really struck me most when I was reviewing the speeches or the messages they sent much earlier than the event. So, and I believe that it was not an easy task for all of you, but I'm proud to say that 152 out of 235 of you, or that's 65% of the total population, made it. And for that, let me congratulate all of you. Okay, since closing is not only for rejoicing but also for giving thanks, let me thank, first of all, the UPOE administration headed by our Chancellor for supporting the continuing education program. Actually, FMBS is the only faculty of study who has a continuing education program. Okay? So, and for that, they have included in its strategic trust number 3, the strategic plan of UPOU, specifically on widening access to continuing professional education. Okay? I also would like to thank yung FMDS headed by our dean, who was not able to come over because of an emergency, for acknowledging the contribution of CEP. Okay. I wish to thank also the CEP course coordinators. Kasama na namin sila since ano po ba? 1995. Especially to Dr. Marie Grace Gomez, who made it today. Ilang closing na yun, nami-miss namin siya. For CCSN, si Assistant Prof. Winnie Ridulme for Research Utilization and Nursing Administration, si Dr. Bobby Bagarina, who is also the Dean of the Faculty of Education, Mr. Brian Belen for both OA and PEB, si Mr. RM who made it, Mr. RM Nisperos for NAP and ECOM, together with Mr. Adrian Bautista, and last but not the least, Mr. JB Malabanan, who is represented by Ms. Tricia Scan this afternoon. I also would like to thank yung families and friends nyo who supported you all the way. And for this particular event, nais ko ring pasalamatan ang lahat ng faculty at staff ng FMDS, ng Multimedia Center headed by Director Lisa Elzan, ang Information Office na may exhibit sa likod, ang Campus Development and Management Office represented by Debbie, at ang Office represented today by Joseph. Sila po yung mga tumulong sa atin sa pagdaraos nitong closing ceremonies. Mukhang naging matagumpay naman. Ito yung pinaka-shortest closing ceremonies ever. Because of the changes we've made, may mga changes na po kami ginawa. I would like to take this opportunity for those who are still interested to join us dito sa UPOU, to join or enroll in any of our 10 non-formal courses para sa January 25, 2020 offering namin. Okay, so we have actually 10 courses. Hopefully makaabot po yung mga for development, like meron po kaming taxation for entrepreneurs, meron po kaming permaculture, ba't na-iling si Trish? Meron po kaming permaculture systems design thinking na this is a project with the Philippine Permaculture Association of the Philippines in the pipeline na rin. And we are also developing yung, what's that phrase? Data privacy training for, basta data privacy together with the Digital Freedom Network. Yun po yung mga nasa pipeline and hopefully maihabol po namin for next year's offering. Sasamantalahin ko na rin po yung pagkakataon na batiin uli yung mga nagsikipagtapos. Yung kapartner po namin dito sa CEP, si Miss Grace Perez, na nabanggit yung pangalan kanina, nagse-celebrate po ng birthday today. Kahit po birthday niya, kasama natin siya dito. So, happy birthday, Grace. At muli, maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Sir Larry, kindly come up on stage again, together with Sir Brian, for our course coordinator for PED, and Professor Rita Ramos to award another certificate of completion.
From the Personal Entrepreneurial Development, we have Vinculado Jessa Antoniette A, Certificate of Completion with High Distinction.
Yeah, thank you so much. So again, congratulations to all of our completers. And right now, all of you are considered part of not just the UP Open University, but the whole University of the Philippines. So bilang mga pag-asa ng bayan, I ask everyone to rise and as we honor and sing to our UP naming mahal. That concludes